Greetings everyone, Glenn Kellaway coming to you from the basement. Man, I'm uploading the videos these days. I don't know, I got a burst of energy or something. Today I want to talk about Eric Clapton. Now, for the past few years, admittedly, I kind of left Eric Clapton in the dust. I don't know, I did it with Springsteen for a long time too. I just kind of didn't bother with him. And when this set was announced, which I did a video on yesterday, unboxing, the 24 Nights, it kind of brought him back into my mind, at least, and started to think how much I enjoyed that 2 CD set. And I thought, wow, and the more I thought about this, the more I wanted to get it, and did get it, and absolutely am loving it. It's a great set. So no buyer's remorse here. Absolutely love it. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about my renewed interest in Eric and my history with Eric Clapton. Now, I first heard Eric Clapton play with the Yardbirds on the radio, but didn't know it was Eric Clapton. It was just the band the Yardbirds. I didn't have any idea. What I have for the Yardbirds is basically a comp, Shapes of Things. So, you know, For Your Love, Heart Full of Soul. Then Eric left because the Yardbirds were getting more poppy. He was just a blues freak. That's all he lived, breathed, and played blues. That's what he wanted to do. And joined John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and they put out this album. Now that's when the name Eric Clapton I first heard. That's Eric holding the Beano comic book, and that's why this album is nicknamed the Beano album. Great blues album. Great. Eric just on fire on that album. From there, you know, he met up with Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce in all these blues bands that were going around London, Alex Corner, and I'm trying to remember the one, the Graham Bond Organization, John Mayall. And they decided to form somewhat of a super group because they were all well known as great musicians, and became Cream. That's their debut album, which I bought right away when it came out and loved it, and was a instant Cream fan. Got to see them live in 1968 at Massey Hall. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I remember the show. It's very, a lot of concerts I went to back in the day, if someone asked me, tell me about the concert, I have a hard time reliving the memories of it. But that one in particular, I remember vividly. All three of them just playing so fantastic. And Ginger Baker really impressed me, man. His drumming was incredible. But we sat in the 9th row, just on the left. There was 3 sections in Massey Hall, the middle section and right left. I remember being on the left side, 9th row, just loving every second of it. And yeah, so I saw that. They put out a second album, Disraeli Gears, which really was the Sunshine of Your Love was on here. That's really when it catapulted them. This is one of my favorite album covers of all time, actually. I used to have that hanging on my wall for years. And this great album, 1 studio, 1 live, Wheels of Fire, great cover. I mean, this has Sitting on Top of the World and White Room, which might be the best Cream song, at least my favorite. And when they broke up, Goodbye Cream, they got back together and did a couple of reunion shows. One at Royal Albert Hall, which was famous. I wonder I should have brought that CD over. I didn't know. I really liked that album. Yeah, so that was Cream. So 1969, Eric forms Blind Faith with Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker, and Rick Gretsch from Family. One album only, one tour. I got to see this tour. I always say the Stones in 1972 was my favorite concert of all time, with Stevie Wonder opening the XL and Main Street tour. My nose is itchy, excuse me. I'm hoping I'm not going to sneeze 5 minutes into a video. Another show that I vividly remember on a hot July night at Varsity Stadium, the same stadium that John Lennon played that live piece in Toronto at the Rock and Roll Show, by the way. And again, we sat I think I was within the first 20 rows. Taste with Rory Gallagher opens the show. Delaney and Bonnie and Friends come out and blow the whole place apart. Incredible. I'll never forget that performance. One of the best live performances I've ever witnessed, and became an instant fan. They blew Taste and Blind Faith off the stage. Blind Faith came out and played that whole album, plus a few kind of Traffic and Cream stuff and that, but mostly the Blind Faith album was pretty much it. Great show. Again, probably my second favorite concert experience of my life. And one album, Eric started hanging out with Delaney Bramlett and the band during the tour, and spent more time with them than he did with his own band members. It led to some animosity, a lot of egos. It just didn't last. It's too bad, because this is one phenomenal record. Eric joins Delaney and Bonnie and Friends and tours with them. Delaney and Bonnie and Friends on tour with Eric Clapton. Fantastic live album. One of the best live albums ever. High energy. It came out on a CD set where they released 4 of the shows. Delaney and Bonnie and Friends on tour with Eric Clapton. This is a great set. It's discontinued, I believe, so it might be costly, but if you can get your hands on this, it's not audiophile quality, but it's very listenable, and it's got complete performances, which this album does not. So you get the opening where the band does an opening jam, a blues jam, and then they do some covers like Gimme Some Lovin'. They do the Dave Mason's Only You Know and I Know, and then Bonnie and Delaney come out and they do the whole rock and roll medley and all that. One of the shows on this even is the one with George Harrison when he came on and played with them. Great set. So I was a huge Delaney and Bonnie fan. From there, Eric is influenced to make his own solo album, highly influenced by Delaney Bramlett. He comes out with this, one of my favorite Clapton albums. This is totally different than what you would have expected from Eric. I think everybody was expecting more like Cream and heavy blues stuff. This is a very rootsy album. It has After Midnight on it, and there's the whole band that was involved, the list of musicians. We've got Rita Coolidge. If you know the Delaney and Bonnie and Friends band, this is it. Rita Coolidge, Jim Price, Bobby Keys, Bobby Whitlock, Leon Russell, Jim Gordon, Bonnie Bramlett, Delaney Bramlett, Carl Rattle, and so I mean, right away you just know that whole thing. So if you also know some of those names, you know the next thing that happened was that out of Delaney and Bonnie and Friends came this amazing band, Derek and the Dominoes. Layla and Assorted Love Songs, one of the great guitar albums of all time with Duane Allman playing on it. If you love guitar, you have to own this album. Jack Gopp, I'm telling you right now, please listen to Layla and Assorted Love Songs. Great record. They only made the one record, and of course Duane Allman died tragically in a motorcycle accident. And from there, Clapton went on his own, formed his own band, and the rest is kind of history, with some great albums like 461. Where are they here? Let's do some of this here, okay? Some of the classic ones. 461 Ocean Boulevard with I Shot the Sheriff on it. No Reason to Cry. What did I do with the other ones I wanted to show here? Because these are some of my faves. Slow Hand with Lay Down Sally, Wonderful Tonight. This is probably his, if I was going to suggest an Eric Clapton album to anyone, it would be Slow Hand. This actually is a audiophile version of this, and it sounds amazing. It's an SACD, but it also plays on regular Red Book layer of CD as well. And yeah, Cocaine's on here, Wonderful Tonight, Lay Down Sally. Yeah, fantastic record. Another one is one that came out in the 80s, which I absolutely love, Journeyman. Now, a lot of the stuff that is played on here came from the Journeyman album, but Pretending's on here, Bad Love's on here, Running on Faith, No Alibis, Old Love, Before You Accuse Me. This is a great record. Another audiophile CD that I kept, even though I don't have a SACD player anymore. It does have a, it's a hybrid, so it plays on both regular CD and SACD. Fantastic sounding album. What else do I have from Eric Clapton? To be quite honest, I used to be a completist for Eric Clapton, and I not a completist for many bands anymore, and I was wheedling down my CD collection, and I traded in a lot of stuff. I must have had 30 or more Eric Clapton albums, and got rid of them. I enjoyed the last couple albums he made, one called Old Sock and one called I Still Do. I really think these are really good albums, and so as much as I said I kind of ignored Eric Clapton, I did buy those when they came out. Behind the Sun, great record. She's Waiting is on here. He does Knock on Wood. Forever Man, which was a hit for him. He put out this tribute to his amazing friend J.J. Cale, who always says, oh, he kind of stole J.J. Cale's style and everything. Well, he was highly influenced by it. I'm going to say that. And when J.J. died, they did this album called The Breeze, which is just a great album with lots of great people on here. Who have we got? We've got, they're all doing J.J. Cale songs. Eric Clapton and Friends, Mark Knopfler, John Mayer, Willie Nelson, and Tom Petty. I mean, a pretty good lineup of people here. Really good renditions of songs. Excellent album if you see it in the wild. Oh, what else have I got here? Let's talk about Eric live, because I showed the 24 Nights. My favorite Eric Clapton live albums are, now most people are going to pick this one, Unplugged. That was a huge album for him, and included the hit Tears in Heaven when he tragically lost his son, a horrible accident. This one I think is out of print too, but really good if you can get your hands on it. It's Eric Clapton and Stevie Winwood reunited live, Madison Square Gardens. This is a great frickin' album. Now, both Eric and Stevie Winwood were close with Jimi Hendrix, and they do what is that here? Little Wing and Voodoo Child on this album. Excellent scorching guitars and really good. Both the guys at the top of their game. Great record if you can find it. This is a kind of a different one, a kind of a jazzy thing with Wynton Marsalis and Eric Clapton. Play the Blues, so it's kind of a jazzy blues album. I really like this one. EC was here. Now, that's one of the tours I saw Eric solo on, was when this album came out. So if you've heard this album, that's exactly what he sounded like. He's just really on top of his game with his blues guitar. It sounded great. This is a really good album. And one of my favorite live albums came out in the late 80s. Well, the tour was from the late 80s. Live in San Diego, Eric Clapton. One of my favorite guitar players, Derek Trucks, plays on this album and does all the slide stuff that Duane Allman would have done in the Derek and the Dominoes sessions. And J.J. Cale comes out and does a guest appearance and sings 2 or 3 songs, but the guitar work on this album is great. Lively live album. Really excellent. And that's it. That's all I got to say. I'm kind of happy I'm kind of back into the Clapton thing. He's an important artist, and I think I'm going to go out and say that you can challenge me if you want. I don't know if there's a rock or a pop artist that has a better resume than Eric Clapton. I mean, so many successful bands, such a successful solo career. You know, getting a chance to play on a Beatles album. Just like, is there anybody else who's been in like 5 or 6 amazing bands, and all of them have been incredible, and had such a successful solo career? I don't think so. Jimmy Page might come close because of his session work, but still, the bands Jimmy made, the Firm and they weren't, no way, they're not even classic bands. I don't think anyone pays attention to them anymore. So, and I can't think of anybody else who would come close. So remember, guys, I'm trying to teach you: thumbs up, thumbs down, do a thumbs. Let's see how many thumbs we can get. It's really important. I'm focused on thumbs. And thanks so much for watching. We'll be back soon.